see how long it takes. Here we go, here we go, here we go. I just need to understand that I'm live also on YouTube. Which is actually something that is not so simple. And it seems I am live on YouTube as well. Welcome everyone, which means likely no one. Well, I do see someone, so I don't know who they are, but they can write in chat. I will try to monitor it, even though I need to do it on 2 different places, unfortunately. But it's okay. Anyways, who am I and why I'm here? And yes, you can see it from the title that there is something about Proxmox, something about Terraform. But first, we need to talk about the general idea about why I'm here. And the first thing is that I care about self-hosting. I care about self-hosting because there are many reasons, and one of them is that I like to tinker with things. I've been actually self-hosting for a couple of months now, and my current infrastructure is a mess, and I want to do it properly. And why not do it properly actually while people watch me? I thought I'm not the best at doing it, most likely, and I will learn things as you see me. And this was probably the least exciting reason for why I like self-hosting. Another of the reasons is that I am a little bit concerned with my privacy, because lately, the more you hear the news, the more you see that there are issues about privacy. And I decided, again, a couple of months ago maybe, that I don't care for billionaires and their companies to have my information, my data. Therefore, I decided to try to look for different solutions. And this is tied also to the third reason, I would say, that is related to costs. How much does it cost to have our own services? And honestly, it's a difficult question to give an answer to, because how much does it cost to have a Gmail account? You could say nothing, you would be correct from a certain point of view, and not correct from another point of view. This is because surely you don't pay nothing, but that means that likely the data you put in that Gmail account will be used however Google wishes. Again, something, as I said before, that I don't like. I'm not saying that today we will start by creating an email server, but I do plan to do it eventually, and I will likely do it here. Why not? Talking about these points, I did a quick bit of research because I wanted to see, let's say, how things are going with other people. And one thing I searched for at first was something that was not Google to gather those information. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any possible solutions. And to be honest, I did not search for weeks, to be clear. I took a day of research and that was it. I tried to use some different tools and these tools couldn't be found, let's say. So we share now some information with you, and the information is about how much is it trending. And I don't want to say trending in a bad manner, but the actual meaning of the term, that is what most people care about. And most people recently, there was a peak here in 2021, but let's say that since 1 year there was a huge peak about self-hosting and having an home lab. Of course there are different terms because different people use different terms, and as you can see from this map that may be small, there are different areas that use different terms. And I didn't check only there, but I checked also with this other tool that is different. It is a tool that shows the information about how these words that are written here are present in books. So I can check from 1970 to 2022. I cannot check for earlier instances of these words. And indeed, you can see that recently there were peaks in here. There was a peak about home lab in 2005, which I don't really know if it is related to this topic. Self-hosting is more correct, even though before doing this research, I actually liked the home lab better, to be honest, home labbing made me feel more like you actually have something at home, whereas self-hosting, you can self-host even on AWS VPS, virtual machine, EC2, I think they're called, or any VPS online, which is technically still having your own service, but in the hardware that is owned by someone else, which does not make it 100% better. Still, it is safer than using free services like a Google Drive, for example. So, coming to this, you will see that my solution is having hardware physically in my home, and indeed I already installed Proxmox because unfortunately I wanted to actually show that I installed Proxmox, but the computer where Proxmox is still in my house, but not here, and I cannot really show where it is because it is a communal space, let's say. Moreover, I do not actually have a capture card, which means that if I wanted to show the installation of Proxmox on my hardware, I would have to basically have another webcam pointed at the screen connected to that computer, which is kind of mind-blowing and horrible to see, to be honest. And I wouldn't like to do that. Maybe in the future I will be able to get a hold of a capture card and I will be able to share the installation of Proxmox as well. But anyways, I installed Proxmox. I didn't actually use it ever before. And I don't have a subscription for Proxmox. And yesterday I had some issue with the updates because by default, when you install Proxmox, the configuration includes the paid repositories that come with the subscription. Moreover, before installing Proxmox, I didn't actually know that I could directly create containers on Proxmox. I knew about virtual machines, and that was the point for me, because the idea eventually is to have a Kubernetes cluster inside this Proxmox instance. My current home lab is still existing and it is hosted in, technically speaking, 3 other computers that are located together with the computer where Proxmox is. And they will not be part of the stream, definitely not today. In the future, I may actually install Proxmox on those computers as well. I need to think about this one because this specific computer, this specific host, has a reason to actually have Proxmox. That is that the specifics, the specs of that computer are fairly high, and having just, for example, TrueNAS installed on it, I know that things can be installed together with TrueNAS, but I don't like the idea of that. It didn't seem sensible. Instead, putting Proxmox and having a few virtual machines and creating a Kubernetes cluster, all things that I want to learn about, because I don't actually know a lot about Kubernetes, seemed more sensible. And when I looked into the documentation of, well, I can move back here, the documentation of Proxmox virtual environment, I noticed that there is a possibility to create virtual machines through Terraform on Proxmox. And again, why not do that? I never actually touched Terraform. I know of its existence and I know I want to try. But again, against what? I could actually use it with some provider online, but that will honestly cost money that I don't have. So why not do it locally on Proxmox, since there is the possibility? And I did a really quick research. That means I googled it, I searched on Google for it. I don't want to use the term googled. And what I found is that yes, it is possible to do it. So now I think will be the moment in which I will try to understand how to do things and see what happens. So of course, Proxmox Terraform. Okay. Terraform registry, docs overview, Terraform from Proxmox, and this is actually terraform.io. Telmate Proxmox Terraform. I don't know what this is. I will not watch YouTube videos. Spacelifts.io. I don't know this website, but I think this was the result I found the other time. Yeah, this looks like it, but I want to actually see. Yeah, this is very white and this is very light. That's a lot of light on my face, but it's okay. Terraform provider is responsible for understanding API interactions and exposing resources. The Proxmox provider uses... Oh, Jesus, I forgot one thing. Yeah. As usual, new to streaming. I forgot to be public on YouTube. But that's okay. I was public on Twitch. But it's okay. So, as I was saying, a Terraform provider is responsible for understanding API interactions and exposing resources. The Proxmox provider uses the Proxmox API. This provider exposes two resources, Proxmox VMQM and Proxmox LXC. So it seems that I can also use Terraform to create directly containers, it would seem, but I don't know if it is a possibility. I never actually used Proxmox and Terraform together. But here, Terraform from Proxmox version 0.0.1 published 2 years ago. This is interesting. And this is version Telmate. What is Telmate? Proxmox Telmate. This week's documentation. Terraform provider is responsible. Okay, Telmate or Terraform for Proxmox. Telmate seems to be more recent and more recently updated. In here, what they use, let's see. In this article, we will take a look at how to use Terraform with Proxmox to configure a virtual machine. This is what I want to do. And we will show how to install and configure Terraform, set up Proxmox, and show an example configuration before looking at some common issues you might run into when setting this up. Okay, what is Proxmox? I kind of know it. Virtual environment, PVE, is a virtualization platform based on Debian Linux. I know that, and I was not too happy, to be honest. It uses KVM for virtualization, Linux container, LXC. Okay, LXC means Linux container for containerization. Okay, interesting, but not too not too much of an issue. Proxmox features. Proxmox integrates virtual machine management. Yes, but I know that to a certain degree. Can I use Terraform with Proxmox? Yes. Terraform can be used with Proxmox, and I know that because I searched for that and I found this page here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Not this page, but this page here. And there is Telmate, Terraform provider for Proxmox. So this is the correct one, and we can close this Terraform from Proxmox. Perfect. Install Terraform. I do not have Terraform, so we need to install Terraform. Oh, this is great already. Oh yes, this can be put in here, and I will need to have this dashboard here. Yes, great. And I will need to actually write something on my phone for a second. Which is totally okay. Time for a break. This was YouTube. Weird, but it's okay. I need to learn many things, not only the details about yeah, I don't understand why there is this, but it's okay. I will continue. Anyways, so as I was saying, I will need to install Terraform. On my computer, I expect first make sure you have Terraform installed on your system. If not, you can install it on your Linux system using the following commands, which is all good. You can also download and install it from the official website and see the instruction for installing Terraform on other OSs, which we will do because I am running Arch Linux. And actually this Arch Linux is odd, as it started by being Manjaro Linux infrastructure, Jesus, computer. And then it was kind of destroyed, but I wanted to retrieve the data, and it was a mess. A friend of mine helped and fixed it in place, which was pretty cool. Linux Ubuntu, Linux is a zip. Oh Jesus Christ, I don't like these options, which means that Terraform, which I expect that we do have a lot of stuff extra Terraform. This is probably what I need. A tool for building and updating infrastructure as a code idempotently. This is the correct one. Therefore, we actually do this. And let's see what happens. Will experience buffering. YouTube users should experience buffering. I don't know about users in other platforms. Especially, I don't know how to see the list of users that are watching me. But hey, it's okay. If there are people that want to talk to me, there are chats available. And now I guess Terraform minus version maybe. Terraform, yes. Perfect. And I don't need this. Install Terraform. I did it. Set up Proxmox. Now we're going to need a Proxmox service API with API access and user permission for Terraform. Indeed. Yeah, I already installed Proxmox. I need to understand how to create the APIs. Safe options, maybe storage, backup, replication, permissions, API tokens. This looks good, and this looks good, but even though it looks good, use API for authentication. Okay, once per installed. Okay. Yeah. Once logged in, you can perform initial configuration tasks such as setting up storage, configuration network, creating virtual machine, and joining additional Proxmox nodes. As we want to use Terraform to automate the creation of our Proxmox resources, the next step is to give Terraform user permission to create VM using Proxmox. Indeed, there are two options: username and password, and API keys. Create a new user and generate an API token. The API key method is recommended to avoid storing your password in Terraform files. And indeed, that is what I want to do. Permissions, users. Okay, so users, not API tokens. Interesting. Okay, let's try. Add a user, username Terraform. This field is required. Yeah, okay. Group, I have no idea. First name, I guess I will go for Terraform. Last name, I will not put it. Email, neither. But let me see if I can use, get a new role. Terraform user, Terraform. Jesus, I don't like that. Okay, create a Terraform file, configuration file, sorry, e.g. main.tf, that will define the Proxmox provider and your VMs. Terraform provider is responsible for understanding API interactions and exposing resources. The Proxmox provider uses the Proxmox API. This provider exposes to resources. Yeah, this is something I read before in another page. In the Terraform code example below, we specify the Proxmox provider and configure the VMs using the Proxmox resource. That's fair. The full list of available options for this resource can be found on the Terraform provider docs pages, which I did find here, and it is different, but it is general, it seems. No, it is not general. This was general. Great. So it seems that I can use just this one. Log into the Proxmox cluster or host using SSH. Oh Jesus. Or mimic this in the GUI then. Create a new role for the future Terraform user. Create the user Terraform -prov at PV. That seems fair. Add the Terraform -prov role to the Terraform prov users. Okay. So this is the CLI for Proxmox virtual environment. User management, I expect. pveum. Okay, so the command, oh Jesus, these seems to be all the capabilities. User add and then ACL mod, access control list, modify, expect, user Terraform prov, Lord Terror. Okay, so we create the role with everything that was in this line, not literally everything, which I expect will be simpler, to be honest, like just all, possibly. We create the user and then we assign the role created previously to the user. In here instead, I'm actually curious. Oh, wait. And repeat. Don't be displayed again. And the token is here. In here is kind of different. It is kind of different. Given that this is, how to say, all part of it, the provider is supposed to use an API token rather than a password to create an API token. So anyways, I need to create the user. For more information on existing roles and privileges in Proxmox, refer to the vendor docs on Proxmox virtual environment user management. Okay, so I would say let's try this. And to try this, I want to use actually CLI because I actually need to remember 92.168.1.40 if I recall correctly. And yes, we are in Proxmox. And in Proxmox we will create the user management. Let's go with minimal version. Oh Jesus, I don't think that is expected. Okay, group ECL, pool, interesting, realm, nice, I like this word. It gives me ideas, role, which we need to use, and user. Okay, password, user ID option. Password D, change the password. Expect. Help. Interesting. Okay, so again, pvum role add. I will not call it like that. Terraform role. I don't think I will create other roles, to be honest. But, I mean, we will see. I expect. Maybe if it is allowed, I will do it like this. And honestly, I will copy part of that. And I will actually take a couple of notes as well. So Terraform plus Proxmox V. Yeah, sorry, I can do it like this, so you actually see. Okay. Documentation. Maybe this will go lower later. And this is it. Yeah, I expect that's okay, even though and notes. Definitely I will write that the interaction between Proxmox V and Terraform require the creation of a user in Proxmox V as well as an API token. How to is present in the documentation linked below. For the time being, just a couple of notes, and now I will honestly copy this line. Copy. Yeah. Because, again, to be honest, I don't want to write all of that. Jesus, that's too much. I mean, it's not too much, but yeah, you get me, I think. Parameter verification failed. Privs, invalid format, invalid privilege vm.monitor. And we have a problem, and I'm happy about it, because we can look it up in the documentation of Proxmox. That is this one. API token. No, this is a role. Let's see. Central web base role based permission. Okay. Proxmox V is simple. There is no need to install a separate management tool. Everything can be done via your web browser. That's great. But that is not what I'm looking for. Role-based permissions management for all objects. Oh, Jesus. For dump. So installing Ghost system administration, graphical user interface, cluster management, cluster file system, storage, deploy, storage replication, QEMU container toolkit, software defined network, Proxmox VE firewall, user management, maybe, given this is a role. ACL, I don't see anything ACL. Let's see with Control F, ACL, nothing related to ACL. File system, level backups, with LVM snapshot, this is not. So user management is likely the correct place. We are trying to create a role, and this is the list of things, maybe. Data store, allocate. Wait, this is the wrong one. Okay, perfect. I will need to figure out how to see the freaking YouTube chat in here. but I will figure it out in another moment. Permission management. In order for a user to perform an action, such as listing, modifying, or deleting part of a VM's configuration, the user needs to have the appropriate permissions. This seems fair. Proxmox virtual environment uses a role and path-based permission management system. An entry in the permissions table allows a user, group, or token to take on a specific role when accessing an object or path. Okay, this means that such an access rule can be presented as a triple of path, user, and role. And indeed, we were creating the role right now, which then, if we go back here, we will assign to a user for the path route. This is all right. This means that such an access rule can be represented as a triple of path user role, path group role, or path token role. Always role and always path. In my case, we are creating a user with the role containing a set of allowed actions and the path representing the target of these actions. Again, fair enough. VM.power management. Yeah, I need the list of possible privileges, I guess. A role is simply a list of privileges. Great. Proxmox VE comes with a number of predefined roles which satisfy most requirements. Oh, nice. So these are pre-created roles. So technically speaking, maybe I do not need to create a specific role with all the specific privileges. But that may not be true. And here there are a list of things, of roles. You can see the whole set of predefined roles in the GUI. You can add new roles with the GUI or the command line. We are trying from the command line. From the GUI, navigate to permission roles, tab from data center, and click on the create button. Okay, to add the role. Okay, privileges. Now we're talking. A privilege is the right to perform a specific action, what we are looking for, which means that we found what we were looking for. To simplify management, lists of privileges are grouped into roles, which can then be used in the permission table. Note, the privileges cannot be directly assigned to users and paths without being part of a role. And indeed, we are creating a role. Now, we have a lot of things. And I think, okay, data store allocate. Allocate space, it's allocate template, yes. Audit, perfect. Pool allocate, which is here, so it exists. Sys audit, sorry, there it is. Sys console, yes. Sys modify, yes. VM allocate, I expected, yes. VM audit, yes. VM clone, perfect. VM config, .cd-rom. This is nice, I guess, for the ISO, maybe? I'm not sure why. But cloud init, there it is. CPU, okay. Config disk, seems fair. Config hardware type, again, okay. Config memory and config network. Perfect. Config options. And we have it here as well. VM monitor is the one that gave us the error. So let's check VM migrate. There it is. Power management. There it is. SDN use, which I don't know what it is. Access SDN, VNets, and local network bridges. So networking related, but I will need to look up this SDN because I have no idea what it is. A VM monitor doesn't seem to be existing. Monitor. Sorry, but I will go literal. And it's not there. Therefore, let's remove it, and this will work. And to be honest, as well as to be fair, this error was maybe enough to understand that I could just remove the VM monitor and it would work. The creation of the role would work, I mean. But at the same time, that is not the correct way to do things, in my opinion. Because first you need to understand what you're doing, not just copy and paste something and say, yes, it works. Otherwise, the next time you will find yourself in the same spot and you will not have any idea how to work it out. And you will need to rebuild from scratch all the knowledge you created already once. That is also why I take notes of what I'm doing. By the way, this is Joplin, and it is self-hosted currently. What I mean with self-hosted, Joplin is kind of odd about self-hosting, because what it means, self-hosting a Joplin server, the Joplin server does only one actual thing, and it is synchronization of data from one device to another device. We will go through it when we actually redeploy Joplin server, because the current configuration that I have of Joplin server is limited. It works only from this location. Whereas if I need to access my notes from another location, or I need to edit those notes from another location and then synchronize them with the other devices, I'm in a bit of an annoying situation, which I need to kind of manually do things. So basically, what do? I synchronize before I leave this location, and then I synchronize again when I reach this location again, which is a bit cumbersome. Of course, as you can see, the synchronization is kind of automated, but again. we need to have this. There is no link here, but let's use it like this. So in the Terraform documentation, there is a slight error, likely related, in my mind this is the reason, likely related to a previous presence of this privilege for Proxmox, which is instead something that was maybe removed because redundant, given that there is auditing stuff, but I'm guessing, so to some deprecation / removal of some Proxmox v privileges. The VM.monitor Jesus Christ, privilege, I can type, maybe does not exist anymore. Here the correct command. By the way, as you can see, things will take a while. We will likely create a virtual machine tonight, but we will likely also destroy that virtual machine tonight through Terraform, because creating one doesn't mean I can create it correctly as I need it. Let's move on. We created the role, and the role was accepted with this name. Therefore, the underscore was acceptable. And this is also present in my notes. Now we create PV, user management, user add. And do we need maybe help like this? Yes. Create new user ID string, full user ID in the name at realm format. Okay, so having it as like this, Terraform -prov at PVE is actually a need for user ID, and it is required by the look of it. And then of course we can do other things. It seems maybe the password is not required. I don't know, but I will need it, I guess. So Terraform at PV minus password, and the password will be banana. Why banana? I don't know. To be honest, it's kind of funny in my head, and if you check your keyboard, and I expect for the most it is a QWERTY keyboard, Not a certainty because there are other layouts, but it's likely, as not many people use other layouts. You will see that the B and the N are really close to each other, and typing this password is really quick, so it is really effective. And you can see the password, to be honest, because I don't care too much. This is a computer that is located in my place, so unless you know where I am and somehow connect to it, even if you know the password, I don't care. And parameters verification. Ooh, I cannot use this password. Is there a way to force it? Because as I said, it's easy to remember and easy to use. Okay, give me a second. Okay. We said role creation, but we will also say user creation. At the creation of a user, if you decide a password which, to be honest, we can test it, which is not strictly speaking necessary for the user creation. You will need an 8 character, thank you, long password. Now we will need to understand how to change the password for this user, because I guess if I do user list, yes, I do list the users, which are better listed in a full screen way. And yes, that is my email, in case you were interested to write something to me, anybody. But as you can see, there is no comment, there is no email. It is enabled by default, nice. It does not expire ever with a 0. The realm type is PV. Again, Proxmox virtualization environment. And there is nothing else. The fact that the password is not there is not present. Interesting. User modify. Let's go help. Oh Jesus, there are a lot of things. Token. Oh Jesus, this is long. And in case it is long, we do this. And create a new user. Perfect, but I want to modify. Modify. There it is. Modify user ID options, and the options are. There is no password. By the way, this is token. Modify. What? Thank you. Last name, keys, groups. first name, expire, enable, email, comment, append. Oh wow. Can I not change the password? Maybe there is something related to password. Initial password. But this is in the creation. And it is only in the creation. Interesting. And very interesting indeed. Let's check the documentation. User management, password, users, Proxmox VE stores, user attribute in etcpv user.config. That's fair enough. Passwords are not stored. Here, users are instead associated with the authentication realms described below. Therefore, a user is often internally identified by their username and realm in the form of user ID at realm. Okay, which is the full user ID. Each user entry in this file contains the following information, which is fair, and I don't really care for the moment. Authentication realms, standard authentication. Okay, let's go down. Let's authenticate. Yes, two-factor authentication. Maybe I passed it already, so in case, feel free to tell me. User configure TTP. That's okay. Limit and lockout of two-factor authentication. TFA, two-factor authentication. Okay. Oh, I saw it before and I forgot. I saw it before and I forgot. To create the user, you can use the following command. And we go here, and there it is. Perfect. This user does not have a password. To add a password, we will need to use password help. There it is. And I was about to think that through command line one couldn't change the password, but it was, to be honest, not sensible. Oh, my neck. I don't know if you actually can hear my neck when I do that, but it cracks. So, as I was saying, this is the command we need, and Terraform at PVE, and confirmation password string, the current password of the user performing the change. I don't know if it's needed, to be honest. For user ID, the current password of the user performing the change. I'm the user performing the change, not Terraform at PVE, so it's not too clear. Let's see if I do this. Too many arguments. Okay, let's try to put this. Enter new password. Yep. There is no direct way to do it. And we will see if I wrote correctly, but I do expect it, to be honest. So this is actually better than creating the user directly with the password inline, because inline you get this kind of thing that can be read in the history, whereas if I create the user like I did before without any actual password, and then I use this command to create the password for this user, the password cannot be read, and it is this one. Just to be clear, I don't care if you know, to be honest. Okay, so to add the password at a second time, which is safer, as it will not leave the password in the history of the command history. In the history, you can use the following command, and there it is. Which will require to okay, there it is. Oh, nice. That's interesting. I will actually try something later, but it's okay. Which will require no, not require, which will provide, I guess, a safe way to type the password. Not likely the safest, I expect, because anyways in here you can see the number of letters, or at least number of characters, sorry, which make the password, but it is still better than having it clearly written. Okay, let's move on again. And again, it was user management, so okay, now we need to do PVE user management clmod / minus user Terraform at PV minus role Terraform role. And indeed, no error, because I remembered what I wrote previously. Okay, so now we created a user and a role, and we assigned the role to the user, which could be done. Oh, Jesus. Okay, which could be done in a different order. Role, oh, Jesus, role don't even know if it's a word. To assign a role to a user. This is the command. The slash id command is the path for which this role will work. Will work for this user. It seems to me that it is kind of clear. I may go later in a different moment through the whole command and explain everything, but to be honest, we have a goal and it will take a while to get there. Okay, use an API token recommended. Okay, modifying privileges. It is not clear. To ensure security, it's best practice to create a dedicated user role for Terraform instead of using cluster-wide administration rights. Clear. The particular privileges required may change, but here is a suitable starting point. Perfect. Oh, they did know that the VM monitor is not there anymore, but they forgot to remove it from the command. It seems, because I copied this command, to be honest. No, how the hell? VM.monit. Oh, I fucked up. I copied the wrong command. That is why. But that's okay. They clearly say it, and it's not an issue. Let's move on. Modifying privileges. Not something that sorry, not something that I need to do. Use an API token. The provider also supports using an API token rather than a password. To create an API token, use the following command. And indeed, so technically speaking, you could create the user without a password, since it is supported, and only use the API token. This is interesting, and it may be even safer, because it is shown once and it is not present in the history ever, I expect. Let's create this token. So pv-um user token add Terraform at pv. Oh, my token. Help. Token ID. Use specific token identifier. Okay, my token is the name of the token. Comment, no description available. Expire, it is possible to set an expiration. And privsep, what is this? restrict API token privileges with separate ACLs default, or give full privileges of corresponding user. Oh, nice! You can create a specific token with a subset of privileges from the one of the user, because I don't expect that you can create a token for a user with specific how to say, with specific privileges that are more than the privileges the user already has. Interesting. Default one, which means that, yeah, okay, but if I go to 0, given it is a boolean, how do I give the specific privileges? It is not too clear, but okay. So this is the name of the token, which means which means oh, look at this. I could have avoided a research, it seems. Which means Terraform. I'm quite not creative, and this is the information, and this is really important for me to save, and I will save it in the notes I'm taking that are safe and only mine. Oh, yes, API token creation. To create an API token, this is the command. As you can see, there is no how to say, no single way in which I describe things, which sometimes can be annoying even for myself. So I would expect it if it was annoying for someone else as well. But at the same time, I don't really care. And this information is here. Okay. With its related output. Okay. I should have used a different name for the token. Info value key full token ID. Okay, interesting. Terraform at PV. Bang, I guess, or exclamation point, and Terraform. Interesting. And this is the normal name, the name of the token. Okay, so how do we describe this? No. But it's good enough because I can then go here and go like this. And write that in the creation command the following are respectively. Okay. User ID, token ID. I might change it to a better form, but we will see. So, maybe. No. And there we are. Now, what do we do next? We created the token. We need to look into how to use Terraform now, which is something that is present here. Because as you can see here, I have the URL for the provider, the user, and the API token, and insecure true. It is my case. It is, maybe as you can see here, HTTPS but not secure, which is something that I may take care of in the future, but it will be tricky to manage, most likely. We will see. And resource, Proxmox VM, my VM, name, my VM, target node PVE, clone Ubuntu template, but this actually requires the presence of an Ubuntu template, it seems to me. Storage, local LVM, 2 cores and 2048 memory, which is the RAM. Okay, this is main TF. What the hell is it needed for? Create a Terraform configuration file. I thought this was, how to say, a configuration file for Terraform. Not the creation of a freaking VM. Yeah, maybe I already opened this. Yeah, I did. This I don't need it currently, but it's okay. Okay, create a QEMU VM resource. You can start from either an ISO, PXC boot the VM, or clone an existing VM. In my case, I would expect I would need to use an ISO, to be honest. I don't really have a VM that is existing to clone, and PXC, I've heard it, but I don't remember what it means, to be honest, currently, and it's not an issue, but at the same time, even though it's not an issue, it's not an option that I have currently, because I don't exactly know what it is. I can, in case, look it up in another moment. Optimally, you could create a VM resource. You will use what optimally you could create a VM resource. You will use a clone base with an ISO and make the rest of the VM resources depend on that base template and clone it. Yes, that was my idea as well, to be honest, to create a VM that is properly configured and then keep it like a template and clone it every single time I need to create a new one. This could be a good idea in general, even though I don't really need it. It is just to be foolproof, I would say. When create a VM QM resource, you create a Proxmox underscore VM underscore QM resource block. For ISO and clone modes, the same, no, sorry, the name and target node of the VM are the only required parameters. Only required parameters. This is not too cool, to be honest. The name and the target node. Okay, but the resources provision through Cloud Init. Cloud Init VMs must be cloned from a Cloud Init ready template. Okay. And what's that? I mean, there is a link so that I can look it up. An initialization of virtual machine instance using Cloud Init configuration of network devices and SSH keys on the provider side is possible. When the VM starts for the first time, the Cloud Init software inside the VM will apply those settings. Cloud Init. But Cloud Init, isn't that something? I may be remembering things badly. Good luck, Trantor Vega. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to understand things and it's not as easy as it seems. But it's okay. I'm learning. I already have learned quite a few things. And sorry for the late reply, I guess. I had my note on top of the chat. Anyways, I will not use Cloud Init because I don't know what is Cloud Init at the moment. And provision through PXE network boot. Again, not my choice. Argument reference. Expect where explicitly stated in the description, all arguments are assumed to be optional and will blind most people expect, even myself. Required. Okay, there is a lot of stuff that can be done, it seems. Oh, wow. A lot of stuff indeed. CPU block. Oh, Jesus. Wait. And this was top level block. Oh, wow. Nice. This is big. And so I need to go back in here, I guess, because if I think about it, I run from here to there, which means that from my computer I will run the Terraform utility with the Terraform main.tf file. I don't understand why it's main.tf, and I honestly don't like to call it main.tf. But it's okay, towards the computer, which is technically on that side, with the Proxmox on it. Okay, so let's go documents and make dir Terraform and honestly make their tests. Could I do it in one command? Yes. Did I? No. Why? I forgot. And I was thinking that I wouldn't create tests folder. Anyways, create the file .tf vim. I don't like naming it main.tf, therefore I will call it test.tf. tf Terraform, I expect. Yes, it is vim, not vi, and I could use something else. I tried to use a tool that was advised by a friend of mine, but it doesn't run on my computer for some reason, and I didn't investigate why yet. And that tool, that program, is named Z. It's like the old Atom, and now it's Visual Studio Code, I guess, the inheritor, and this Z is written in Rust, if I recall correctly, but anyways. We need to write this stuff. Okay, I kind of expect that this section is, to be honest, I don't think this is a name that is needed as Proxmox, but this is just my idea. I need to actually find some specification that is clearer for the provider, and I'm not too sure. Reference import. This can be important using its node type and VM ID. Not exactly anything that I want. QM, okay, Cloud Init Disk, LXC, LXC Guest, Proxmox Pool Guides. Need developer installation, developer. Not developer, installation, Terraform, okay. This document describes how to install the Terraform provider. What the fuck? Oh wow, oh. Yeah, I can create the I totally forgot about this step. Totally forgot about this step. Yeah, Proxmox, Jesus, Terraform. Instead, I also need to install the provider within this computer, and I totally forgot about it. Okay, so I think I will do that first, to be honest. Can I create enable proxy server support, argument reference, logging? Oh, look at that. Provider section of Terraform. Look at this. To install this provider, copy and paste this code into your Terraform configuration. Include a version tag. Oh, Jesus. I need to use the specific version. It's not the nicest thing, to be honest. I mean... okay. Anyways. Let's go for it. Terraform. Perfect. And I will also close it so I don't forget about it. And I don't know if it's tab or not. I don't know if this counts. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But anyways, require. Yeah, let's type properly. Required providers properly. Again, this. This is not cool. Oh, there it is. Nope. Thank you, Proxmox. Equal. This reminds me of NixOS, actually, because this is telling me that it's kind of an array. So it could be proxmox.sources maybe? I don't know. Source, not sources. But it's very similar. Telmate slash Proxmox. My experience with NixOS is very limited, so don't count on it. Version and the tag of the version, which is 3.0.2, and I need to use the double quotes. 3.0.2 dash rc 05, and this is set provider configuration option. There it is. Nice. Provider Proxmox, that recalls that one. Proxmox there, no, yeah, configuration option, and then run Terraform init. I like it, but I don't understand when developing this provider is useful to bootstrap development as quick as possible. You can use the Proxmox VE Vagrant VM project, for instance. Check out the examples for a main TF to use. Sorry, but it's okay. Examples. I will check the examples later. Manual build and install. Okay, but I don't care of a manual build and install, to be honest. And well, okay, the version can also be tagged not literally, but also with how to say, oh Jesus, over the end version. Okay, initialize Terraform. I don't know if I can provide the file, but it's okay. Yeah, I would not make it install manually, but I would like to understand this provider configuration option. And I truly don't understand where they are, because here there is a cloud init guide, which is great, but it's not what I want to do currently. I will look it up next time, maybe. We will see. Right now I want to do it the easy way, let's say. Resource. Okay, we need to get it started. Okay, the snippet, Terraform configuration again. I don't see the provider configuration. Developer. Okay, providers. Terraform get init. Okay. Going deeper. Okay. Disk log as resource argument reference. Okay. Not starting that, but I don't see a provider. Oh. Provider. Okay, So I expect that here I have something about the provider. Proxmox API URL. Let me check that. Yes, so these are the configuration options for the provider. Nice. I'm good at not seeing things, it seems. But that's okay as well, because now we found it. Default value, nope. Required. PM API URL, of course. Proxmox API URL. I expect it is like this and like this. I expect. I saw it in here. And I will write it /API2/JSON. I will write it manually, like everything up until now. HTTPS // oh Jesus, 192 168 140 8006 /API2/JSON. So this is JSON. Yeah, I guess. I don't like it, but okay, I think I got it, because it's not JSON technically speaking. It is JSON, but this is not JSON. Anyways, PM user. The user, remember to include the authentication realm such as @PAM, @PVE. Okay, so Proxmox user. Thank you. Proxmox user, and which user is it? It's the user we created for this, Terraform, without the N, @PVE. PM API token secret, API token ID. Doesn't seem that the user is needed. This is an API token you have previously created for a specific user. This UID is only available when the token was initially created. So what? OTP code. I go in here just because PM password, your API key. Okay, I don't get it, but I will do this. PM API, I was saying token ID, token ID equal, and in my notes I saved it. Full token ID, there it is. Nope, but I will take it from here. Copy. There it is. And then PM API token. Oh, wrong. Secret. Sorry. Secret. And this is something that I also have saved here. I think value. I expect this is the secret, but we will see in a while, I guess. After this, I will, or I will not PM OTP. PMTL is insecure. Disable TLS verification when connected to the Proxmox server. And this is indeed something we need, because I don't have TLS certificates. Sorry, insecure equal true boolean. PM parallel. This is interesting. Allowed simulations. No, sorry. Allowed simultaneous Proxmox processes, e.g., creating resources. Let me drink because my throat is getting dry. So, allowed simultaneous Proxmox processes. Setting this greater than 1 is currently not recommended when creating LXC containers with dynamic ID allocation. For QM, the threading maybe issue has been resolved. So I don't really plan to create containers directly on Proxmox, but maybe I will try just to learn about it, especially creation of containers with Terraform. Therefore, I would say that currently I don't care about this. Log enable. Default I expect is this, and it is false, and it's definitely not going to stay as false, and this is true, by the way. Sorry, I apologize. I don't know if it was audible, but I almost burped. Log enable true. Maybe with no, without booleans. Don't go with. Okay, PM log file, PM log level, default map, a map of log sources and levels. I don't understand. Default value, description, map. This one I need to search for it, and I don't know exactly where. What I mean is that I will search for it like this. Log level. What the hell do I have here? Sponsor background. I don't care, to be honest. PM levels map. Meaning. Oh Jesus. Maybe like this. Red Hat, Apache, Proxmox. I need to write Proxmox, I think. Level journal CTL, log levels explained. Nope. Proxmox. Maybe. Yeah. No. I don't care about the AI. Increase the verbose level of logs. What the hell is this? PMG filter, pharmacist log. This is not what I'm looking for, most likely. Log level in, out, mastering Proxmox 3rd edition. Oh, O'Reilly. Wow. Nice. I don't think I can read this for free, but you never know. Mastering Proxmox 3rd edition, log level in, out is not exactly what I'm looking for. But maybe the search is not exactly correct because it's not just Proxmox, it's Proxmox Terraform PM log levels. Yeah, create with Terraform the log file, log enable true. What? What? Let me open this. True Terraform, debug log levels, default debug, capture log. Oh, this is even more interesting. So map may mean that. Why is it not properly explained? I don't understand. Yeah, provider.tf is probably, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I don't care that I put this in as clear thing because it's okay. It's okay. In my case, it's not a public instance of Proxmox anyways, but at the same time, this is quite interesting. Create provider.conf config. Okay, Proxmox API token. It is in the form of the token ID. Okay, API token ID. This is the full secret wrapped in quotes. That's totally okay, but that is not. Oh yeah. Okay. var.proxmox API secret because you export it. Yeah. Vars. Okay. I get it. I don't see an include, but that's interesting. PM debug. True. Which is definitely something that I may use. What the hell? Page not found. Interesting. I don't exactly know what it is. I will close this because it's not the time to go into that. Proxmox vagrant example.tf. Nice. It was the examples. Okay, log levels. I don't know if it's needed. And here I didn't find it, but I did find it maybe in here. Yeah. Log levels. Default capture log. Okay, the provider is able to output detailed logs upon request. Note that this feature is intended for development purposes, but could also be used to help investigate bugs. For example, the following code, when placed into the provider Proxmox block, will enable logging with 1G, logging to the file Terraform plugin proxmox.log. All log sources will default to the debug level. To silence and any SD out, SDR from sublibraries, Proxmox API go remove or comment out capture log. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. PM log file, Terraform. Yeah, Terraform underscore proxmox.log will be the file in my case. Log file. equal, oh Jesus, my back is hurting me, but it's okay, it's been 2 hours anyways. And let's continue for now. I don't know even if we can create one VM at this point, but anyways, terraform underscore proxmox dot log, file name that is ideal. All log sources will default to the debug level because this is the log level. To silence and any std out stdr from sublibraries, remove or comment capture log. In my case, I will just default to the debug level. I will not even write capture log. That's okay, in my opinion. Long levels. Oh Jesus, I was not writing. pm log levels equal equal this. I just don't remember. Underscore default equal debug. And here we are. I don't think I'm done. Log level log file pm timeout. Timeout value for Proxmox API calls. By default is 300, which is seconds, 5 minutes. That's totally okay by default. PM debug, enable verbose output in Proxmox API Go. Okay, interesting. Did I have it here? Yes. But I don't know if I need it. Let's add it. PM debug. True. PM proxy server. I don't think I need the send provider API calls to a proxy server for its debugging. Nope. PM minimum permission check. Enable minimum permission check. This will check if the user has the minimum permission required to use the provider. I don't need it. A list of permissions to check allows overwriting of the default permissions. But this is a list that I give, so no. Okay, so I think this is okay. Perfect. Ora. We were saying that enable proxy server support, enable the mode, you can enable, okay. Create a connection with the username and the API token. I don't mind that I have these. Okay. Okay. This value can also be set in main.tf, but users are encouraged to explore Vault as a way to remove secrets from their HCL. The fact that Vault is a product provided by HashiCorp, like Terraform, is not an issue. They don't link it in here, but they don't use a generic term in here, where they could say use a tool to manage your secrets. They actually tell you to use Vault, Explore Vault. That is their product, which is funny to me. Okay, so now in theory I can use Terraform init. Terraform minus help instead will give me many information. Okay, usage, Terraform, global options, subcommand, arguments. Okay, the available command for execution are listed below. The primary workflow command are given first, followed by less common or more advanced commands. That's great. Prepare your working directory for other commands. My working directory. Validate. Check whether the configuration is valid. That is definitely something that I plan to do. And there is also plan. Show changes required by the current configuration. Nice. Apply. Create or update your infrastructure. So this applies. Okay. And destroy previously created infrastructure. Great. Should this help out or help for a specific subcommand? And indeed we will do that. Init help. Yeah. There is a lot. So if we go like this, we get to read it in an easier way. So yes, Terraform global options init options. Initialize a new or existing Terraform working directory by creating initial files, loading any remote state, downloading modules, etc. This is the first command that should be run for any new or existing Terraform configuration per machine. This sets up all the local data necessary to run Terraform that is typically not committed to version control. Interesting. This command is always safe to run multiple times, though subsequent runs may give errors. This command will never delete your configuration or state. That is positive. Even so, if you have important information, please back it up prior to running this command, just in case. That seems fair. Backend configuration, backend equal false, backend configuration to be merged with what is in the configuration files backend block. This can be either path to an HCL file with key value assignments or a key value format, and can be specified multiple times. The backend type must be in the configuration itself. Force copy, force module source, get force disable downloading modules for this configuration, input, disable interactive prompts, not, that's some action. Okay. Lock, no color, JSON, if specified machine readable output will be printed JSON from, which is nice. Reconfigure, okay, upgrade, install the latest module and provider version allowed within configuration constraints. This is nice. Log file, ignore remote, test directory. Set Terraform test directory defaults to tests. Okay, so it seems that I can just run init like this, but before that cp this so that I don't lose it. To be honest, I don't think I will, but Initializing, finding Proxmox. Okay. Initializing the backend. Initializing provider plugins. Find Telnet Proxmox version matching this because it's the version. And we installed it. Self-signed. Okay, partner. Okay. We need to take a few notes because it's been a while since we have written notes. Terraform. Proxmox notes. Terraform notes. Then maybe I will check back if there are details about Terraform up above. So, day one. Terraform nodes. To use Terraform with Proxmox V, as far as I understood, I need to create a .tf file the content of the file itself is the following. Oh Jesus, following. Okay, and I'm lazy. There it is. Please, thank you. I will describe a bit better the file at a second time. To be honest, I'm pretty tired, but it's okay. Refer to the documentation for it. And it is specifically this. I said this. Okay, let's do this and let's do this. Thank you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you. Why like this? Because like this I can refer yes. Oh no, thank you. I can refer to the section of the documentation, or better, which documentation? 3. And this is about the role. So probably here. And this is not true. Documentation. First of all, creation. Here the command, because it's okay. Recreation 2. I can actually connect the reference to the documentation, but in the note I'm explaining not really, I'm trying to say that I can connect this number to the specific thing. I don't remember how to do it right now. I will look it up. The next time I will be able to do it likely. I will likely be able to do it. Thank you. So this is the file. Running the command Terraform init in the folder where this file is located will prepare the correct environment. And I misunderstood something I want to say, because I thought that we had to install something in the Proxmox host. Instead, this was installed in, was installed in my machine again. And let's find it. Proxmox installed. Partner and community providers are signed by their developers. If you'd like to know more about the provider sign-in, you can read about it here. Terraform has created a log file .terraform.log.hcl to record the provider selections it made above. Include this file in your version control repository so that Terraform can guarantee to make the same selections by default when you run Terraform init in the future. Terraform has been successfully initialized. You may now begin working with Terraform. Nice. Try running Terraform plan to see any changes that are required for your infrastructure. All Terraform commands should now work. If you set or change modules or backend configuration for Terraform, rerun this command to reinitialize your working directory. If you forget, other commands will detect it and remind you to do so if necessary. It seems that the CLI of Terraform is pretty advanced, but let's move on. I don't need to validate anything currently because I only have this stuff. So Terraform plan is a good idea. No changes. Your infrastructure matches the configuration. Terraform has compared your real infrastructure against your configuration and found no differences. So no changes are needed. Instead, if I modify the test.tf, I expect that there are operations that needs to be performed. Nice. Now I think that I will try to see if I can quickly create one VM. And this is the one thing that I need. But I don't have an ISO. At least not here. Let me see if I can organize myself in a moment. I do not have an ISO. I can download an ISO. This looks like interesting, by the way. So this is something that I will add in here, because it's, again, documentation that can be interesting to read, but right now, no. This as well, even though it seems to be better to write or at least read the actual documentation. Okay, this is an example of a resource, but this is also an example of a resource. And this is QEMU, VM resource. You can start in ISO. Okay, we will download the Arch ISO. Arch Linux ISO. Downloads. And it's 1 gigabyte 0.4. Station guide, issue tracker, mailing list, existing users, magnet, torrent, netboot, docker image, VM images. Oh, Jesus. Fucking ISO. Thank you. Download verification, verify the black to be checksum as follow. Okay. Let's go with definitely not China. Let's go with Germany, which should be right. Germany. And x84, 8664 ISO. I think this is more than good enough. And indeed, in here, it's okay. It will take very little time, so it's not an issue that I didn't have an ISO. I think I have enough space for it. Yeah, 200 gigabytes should be enough. Interesting, but it's okay. So let's go back to this and let's create the first VM file. So vim first vm.tf. And first vm.tf, there it is. So resource. Oh, thank you. Resource. Okay, again. Proxmox. I think I was wrong before. VM QEMU. And resource name. Interesting. First. I don't think I need. I don't know if it's possible, but let's do it like this. Target node. Target node. I only have one node. So attribute reference in another place. Oh, what? Argument reference, no, attribute. Oh, okay. That was bad, but it's okay. The name of the PVE node on which to place the VM. This is interesting. I guess, well, first of all, this, but I guess this is the node Proxmox. So target node is Proxmox, and I would really like to have something that is in dark mode, but it's okay. The download was completed, and at the same time we also want to check the checksum, I would say. Break to B. I don't know if I have B2SUM. Let's do it like this. Downloads. Perfect. And I do have SHA-256 SUM. The of Arch Linux ISO 86 media EA1D. I'm lazy, but it seems correct. Perfect. So we are safe, but on top of that, now we use this. I'm not too sure. Disks. Target nodes. List of PVM names on which to place the VM. Okay, because I can use. Proxmox one set is should use the next availability in the sequence. Okay, description. Okay, the fun connection info. Boolean. Nope. BIOS. On boot. Startup. VM state. Okay, on create. Protection. Tablet. Boot. Boot disk. Agent. PXE. Clone it. Oh, I apologize. Full clone. HA state. HA group. Memory balloon. Hot plug. SCSI hardware. Pool tags. RNG. I have no idea. TPM state. Force create. OS type. Ubuntu. Oh, it's provisioning method to use based on the OS type option. Ubuntu, CentOS, Cloud Init. Are you telling me I cannot use whatever I want? Well, it's not needed, but I don't know. But it's okay. Currently, it's okay. Force recreate. Nice network config, SSH forward IP, SSH user, SSH private key, that's okay. CI wait, user password custom upgrade, search domain name server, SSH keys, IP config. Okay, so Control F, disks, disk block. Disk or disks, because this is disks. The disk block is used to configure the disk devices. It may be specified multiple times. The block does not differ as pretty as the disks block, but it is more flexible for modules. Putting the disks in alphanumeric order based on the value of slot is recommended for readability. Okay, but to be honest, disks block. Thank you. The disks block is used to configure the disk devices. It may be specified once. There are 4 types of disks: EDE, SATA, SCSI, and VirtIO, I guess. Configuration for these subtypes can be found in their respective chapters. Jesus. In here is telling me ID, ID2, CD-ROM, ISO. Okay. So, ID. Disk ID block is used to configure disks of type ID. No shit. It may only be specified once. That's okay. It has the option ID 0 through 3. Each disk can have only one of the following mutually exclusive subtypes: CD-ROM, cloud init, disk, pass-through, ignore, and the respective chapters, obviously. It was a CD-ROM in here. Disks ISO. Name of the ISO image to mount to the VM in the format. Note that ISO is mutually exclusive with pass-through. Well, if a CD-ROM drive should be pass-through. Okay, got it. But is it the only way to use ISOs? It doesn't seem so. Because it's present also in the disk. Type disk, disk file. True. Okay, let's just use it this way. My brain is kind of burned out, to be honest. Let's use it this way just to test it. Okay. It also seems that it will be kind of a messy thing, because it almost seems that I cannot use the let's use 0. D Jesus. Oh, CD-ROM. Arch ISO, but I don't really know. It's not too clear. ISO file. How do you pass the ISO file? Do I put the what is it called? The full path? Question mark. Let's go down. The name of the ISO image to mount to the VM in the format storage pool :ISO / name of the ISO file. Note that ISO is mutually exclusive with pass-through. Okay, the exclusivity, I get it. The other thing, I don't. Or better, I think I do. I need to put the ISO in the Proxmox host. Okay. Get VM, book start, book shutdown, book suspend, shell. Yes, shell, no. I have the shell when I want to. Updates, repositories, maybe? Oh. Yeah, I know. Ah, Jesus. It's okay. LVM, 98% assigned to LV. I know. Why is it red? I will need to look it up. Directory, ZFS. I didn't use ZFS. I didn't use Ceph. Application, task history, subscription. I don't know if I can disable. Okay. I don't think. Where do I put the ISO files? This is a good question. Proxmox documentation. I do have it somewhere. Give me a second. Wiki. Let's use the wiki. Okay. ISO. Upgrade. Guest boot problem. ISO. Nope. All system administration. Okay. Software defined prox. Oh, Jesus. Network. Firewall. User management, availability, backup, restore, notification, shell interface for the Proxmox VE API. Frequently asked questions. Maybe. I don't think. Ooh. Nothing to do with ISOs. So this is not what I'm looking for. I don't think this is what I'm looking for either. Which means that I need to search somewhere else for the moment. Proxmox, where to locate the ISO. Local change ISO file location. Until now, my Proxmox experience has been quite straightforward. Up until the point I got an error when uploading ISO. As for the solution, I found that the place where the ISOs are uploaded is full. Nice. This doesn't look good, to be honest. But that's okay. So I think I will do it like this. Or maybe it is like this. It's okay, I will not run it without that. I need to figure out where to put the ISO, which is something that I will do either off stream or the next stream. It has been 2 hours and 35 minutes since we started, and I think that's good enough for now. And I will be seeing you next week, most likely on Tuesday, and most likely always on Tuesdays. This week was a bit of a mess and I couldn't stream before today. But anyways, thank you all and see you next week.